Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to you.
Mother's Day, according to Wikipedia, in the United States is an annual holiday celebrated the second Sunday in May. Mother's Day recognizes mothers and motherhood as well as the positive contributions mothers make to society. Although many Mother's Day celebrations worldwide have quite different origins and traditions, most have now been influenced by the more recent American tradition. Established by Anna Jarvis, organized by Jarvis, the first official Mother's Day was celebrated at Andrews Methodist Episcopal Church in Grafton, West Virginia, which now holds the International Mother's Day Shrine. Previous attempts at establishing Mother's Day in the United States sought to promote peace by means of honoring mothers who had lost or at risk of losing their sons at war. In its present form, Mother's Day was established by Anna Jarvis with the help of the Philadelphia merchant John Wanamaker, no relation to the Wanamaker Burgers. Following the death of Anna's mother, Ann Jarvis, on May 1905, following the death of Anna's mother, Anna Jarvis always claimed that the creation of Mother's Day was hers alone, but Ann began the groundwork. The first official Mother's Day service was on May 10, 1905. A small service was held on May 12, 1907 in the Andrews Methodist Episcopal Church in Grafton, where Anna's mother, Ann, had been teaching Sunday school for years. In May 2008, the U.S. House of Representatives voted twice on a resolution commemorating Mother's Day. The Grafton Church, where the first celebration was held, is now the International Mother's Day Shrine and a National Historic Landmark. Jarvis then campaigned to establish Mother's Day first as a U.S. national holiday and later as an international holiday. The holiday was declared officially by the state of West Virginia in 1910, and the rest of the states followed quickly. President Wilson's Mother's Day proclamation was May 9, 1914. In 1934, U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt approved a stamp commemorating the holiday. Traditions on Mother's Day include church-going, the distribution of carnations, and family dinners. Mother's Day is the third largest holiday in the United States for sending cards, according to the greeting card industry. It is established that more than 50% of the American households send greeting cards on this holiday. Carnations have come to represent Mother's Day since Anna Jarvis delivered 500 of them at the first celebration in 1908. Many religious services held later adopted the custom of giving away carnations. The founder, Anna Jarvis, chose the carnation because that was her mother's favorite flower. Florists invented the idea of wearing a pink or red carnation if your mother is living, and a white carnation if your mother is deceased. Rev Kev and Mike Shear generously provided us with carnations today, and after this service, if you couldn't get white ones, take a pink one if your mother is deceased and a red one if she's still living after the service. The commemorization of the American holiday began very early, and only 9 years after the first official Mother's Day, it had become so rampant that Anna Jarvis herself became a major opponent of what the holiday had become. Spending all of her inheritance and the rest of her life fighting what she saw as an abuse of this celebration. She described the practice of purchasing greeting cards was not acceptable because people were just too lazy to write their own personal letter. She was arrested in 1948 for disturbing the peace while protesting against the Mother's Day, and she finally said that she wished she would have never started the day because it became so out of control. She died later that year. Mother's Day is now one of the most commercially successful American occasions, having become the most popular day of the year to dine out at a restaurant in the United States, and generally a significant portion of the U.S. jewelry industry's annual revenue, from custom gifts like mother's rings, spa treatments. The Americans spend approximately $2.6 billion on flowers, $1.53 billion on pampering gifts, and another $68 million on greeting cards. Let's remember, Mother's Day recognizes mothers and motherhood, as well as the positive contributions mothers make to society. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
As a mother, hi everybody.
Hello.
I was married at the age of 20, and over the next 10 years, wanting a family and being a good Catholic, I had 6 children. My first daughter died a few hours after she was born, but I went on to have 5 more children. 2 sons, 1 daughter, and 2 more sons. Dennis, Kevin, Karen, Scott, and Craig. There was not much money for a family of 5 children. To support them, after Craig was born, I started working for Univac, a computer manufacturer, and I started as a controller. Since Univac paid employee college tuition, I went back to college as a nighttime student and received my computer science degree. Soon after I graduated, Univac offered me a job as a programmer on their latest product line, and I was included in a small group of new programmers Univac sent to MIT for 6 weeks to learn systems programming. For the benefit of my children and myself, I left my husband and took my 5 children with me, and Craig was only 3.5 years old. Being a single parent and sole supporter, I believed that Jesus and Mary would help us survive. We started a whole new way of building our lives, not only as a family, but a cohesive group of 6 friends who had to live, love, and work together. Being the mom, I was the leader. I wanted my children to grow up to be respectful, strong, independent, responsible, and helpful, good individuals. This would not have happened if I had stayed with my husband. I found a great child psychologist who helped us all understand the life changes we were going through as a family and as individuals. We saw Grace once a week, and she was a godsend for all of us. During weekdays, I had someone help me with Craig as he started kindergarten. But on the whole, Dennis and Karen, my troopers, took command of handling and helping and taking care of the younger children while I was at work, night school, or studying. My younger sister Susan and best friend worked with me at Univac. She lived in an apartment close by, and we were really a family of 7. On weekdays, we spent cleaning the house and playing. But weekends were our time, and Saturday was the cleanup day and cook day. But Sundays, we took our car rides and went to all different places. For example, we didn't live far from Valley Forge, which was one of our favorite haunts. We worked together to pack a lunch, grab some books, a radio, some balls, and we took off to have a good time. We would dance, play, eat, and drink, and read all among the trees. When we were ready to leave, we would get in my big convertible, old, and we would drive around on the park roads. I would stop and call a fireman's drill, and all the kids would climb out with their friends, which they were mostly there also, would climb out of the car and run around the car laughing, while I honked the horn, and bystanders would clap and cheer them on as they climbed back into the car, and I would drive off. As the children grew, everything was not all fun and roses. When there were tough times, we would all sit together to talk out our problems, differences, and troubles, and make decisions that would work for all of us. There were rules that needed to be followed, and certain reprimands for rules that were not followed. I hate to say that Kevin was really my greatest challenge. He was definitely that second child, always finding out a way to be different or disruptive. They were all really respectful and understanding of my times away from home with work in college. Sometimes Karen would squawk. I wasn't a Donna Reed kind of mother who stayed at home and baked cookies. And my answer to her was usually, do you want shoes on your feet and bacon to eat, or do you just want cookies? On the whole, they were a great bunch of kids who got along well with their peers and themselves and were very smart in school. Thank you, God. When Jesus was starting college, I got the opportunity to move and work in California Bay Area. Grace suggested Kevin should stay in Pennsylvania and go to a military school she knew. It would give him more of a structured life and help him to get into the Army, which is what he wanted. She also obtained financial help for me so I could afford the school. This meant I left for California with 3 children, Karen, Craig, and Scott. Craig was just 9 years old. We settled in Cupertino and I worked in Sunnyvale, the Silicon Valley, and San Francisco. The change from Pennsylvania seemed to be really good for all of us. Karen accepted California very quickly and started high school, making lots of good friends except for the football coach. He called one day and asked that I please have her stop helping the football team in practice. All 90 pounds of her had broken the collarbones of 2 boys by butting her head in tackle moves. Scott loved the sun, the pool, baseball, golf, California outdoors. He forgot Pennsylvania very fast, even though he was the one who didn't want to move. He has always been an extremely serious and quietly forceful person. He wanted to be a baseball player and was a pitcher for the Cupertino High when he was in a California state baseball competition. But this was not to be his future due to a bad wrist injury. Craig's best friend was a motherless brown kitten he found in a vacant lot nearby. Sometimes he would disappear and we would not be able to find him. About a week later, I sent Craig to the store, and while he was gone, there was scratching on the door. I opened the door to find a little brown kitten. And while I was wondering how it made up the stairs and why it was by our door, Craig came back from the store. He admitted he had been taking food to the kitten in the lot because he didn't know we could have a cat. He named this big, beautiful brown sable cat Waco, who lived with us for 19 years. Beyond the cat, Craig loved cars, collecting auto magazines, drawing, and computers. And that was ever since he was 7 years old. After college, Dennis joined us in California. He worked in a bank which was robbed, and he decided that was not for him. He obtained a position at Stanford University and moved up to head administrator, working for the university president and 4 other department heads. After many Stanford years, he joined the Responses organization, which is a computer company, and he became the manager of the programming personnel who controlled various San Francisco airport airline reservation computers. Dennis and his partner of 32 years lived in Vallejo, when in 2013, Desmond passed away from cancer at the age of 55. Sorry. Karen graduated high school at 16 and had enough of school and wanted to get a job and start earning money. She was only 16, but she was a queen bee among her 4 brothers, and she learned early how to work with men. She has spent most of her life working for automobile organizations and has been very successful as a service department manager. She even married for a while and wanted a child very badly, but had 6 miscarriages before Dennis introduced her to a Stanford doctor who helped her, and she has a son, Joey. Scott, after graduation, was determined to pay his own way through college while working. He did this and became an engineer for FMC of Bradley Tape fame. That's Scott. He married the high school girlfriend, Lori, at the age of 19. The Reverend said to me, Scott was the oldest young person he ever married. They are still married and have 2 children, Thomas and Sarah Faye. Kevin in high school was an impressive carpenter in wood class, which served him well after the Army. He learned the construction trade and started a company refurbishing homes. He moved to the Bay Area to be closer to the family, and he built single-family homes. He met and married Peggy, and they moved to Flint, Michigan, where her family lived. I'm sure he would still probably be living in Flint except for the recession, which drove him back to the Bay Area, and he doesn't live far from Scott. I am sure most of you know Craig, especially with his face, who is not just my son, but my best friend, and as a child was the most fun. Craig was an excellent school student, and after high school went to college for architectural design. Besides his love for cars, he also loved helping people and worked in a variety of sales and retail positions. Retail gets old, and he went into the computer profession. He did this because it was easy for him, since he had used, played, torn apart, and put back together computers and other electronic equipment from the time we moved to California. He is now a successful computer professional. I believe my children have become successful individuals because I always, with God's help, worked and taught them to be respectful, strong, independent, responsible, and helpful individuals. Thank you.